Hi, Stephanie here, and welcome back to Martelli Enterprises. In this segment, we're going to review threading your long arm. When you're threading your machine, I'm all about making things easy. These are fantastic product, and I encourage you to go get them, whether it's for your long arm machine, embroidery machine, or even your home machine. You'll find these in the dental aisle in Walmart, Walgreens, your local pharmacy. These are actually flossers for braces, and they are, I'm going to step up in here. They are a hoop with a tail on them. It makes it very easy for threading in those tight little corners. So these are definitely worth the investment. They're about $2 for 50. Once the spool of thread is on our thread caddy, we have two pieces that we're going to put on the top. There are obviously two different spools of thread sitting in front of you with two different tops. I want to show you the first piece that we're going to put on, this little white plastic piece. If we turn it sideways, we can see that there's some prongs here and some teeth on this side. So if you've got a spool that's open, such as this one, we're going to put this side down, okay? So that would set just like that. If we have a spool that the opening is smaller on, we're going to flip it over and use the teeth side. And that would set right on there. Once that is in position, you're going to take the plastic no-slip ring here with a little flower insert there, I like to call it, and we're going to slide that on top. So we're going to go ahead and place our thread on our thread caddy. Real quick on here, this thread caddy, this is a Martelli innovative product. It's very important. What this does is, if you notice, the base of this is on ball bearings, so this spins rather than our spool spinning on our spindle, okay? So by doing this, we are almost eliminating thread breakage. I say it will eliminate, sure enough, it'll start breaking on you, but it does alleviate a lot of the thread breakage. Go ahead and throw that metallic thread on here. This ball bearing base is going to help eliminate the breakage. So I'm going to now place, remember, white cap first, slide that down on there, make sure that thread's nice and centered, and I'm going to put the plastic, the no-slip grip on top of that. Now, you're going to find in your box a clear plastic cone that sits on top of this. Don't worry with that, okay? It doesn't affect the performance of the thread caddy. So I went ahead and put the spool of thread on my thread caddy, and I threaded my flosser, and you'll see how easy this is to maneuver through. Now you've got two holes on your little metal tabs here. Don't worry. It's for future updates, but we want to make sure that we're using the hole that's not going to hinder the movement of our thread, okay? So in that back one, I've gone through the outside hole. I'm going to move around here to the next metal tab, okay? And this one I'm going to go through the outside, or the top one. If I were to go through the bottom one, if you look how that's lined up, my thread could possibly get hung up on that. So that's what we mean by hindering the movement of the thread. I'm going to go through the top hole again on the third one. Now this is your machine. If you want to take a Sharpie or a marking pen and mark the order, feel free to do it. Whatever makes things easier for you. So you've gone through that third hole. We're going to come through the outside on there. We want to make sure that we are in between the tension rings there. Second hole on that one. Again, very, very easy using these flossers. I'm going to go through the pigtail. Okay. Now, our tension bar. Our tensioner, top tensioner. We want to go around this 1.5 times. So as I'm facing this, I'm going to go from right to left in between the discs. I'm going to go once. So I've gone once around, come around again. We're not going to quite go all the way to the top. And then we're going to grab that spring. Okay, so you can see I've gone 1.5 times and I'll be able to pull that little spring down. So we've gone around 1.5 times. The spring works, pulls on there. We go around the little bar that sticks out. I like to call that the Allen wrench tool, but it's a little metal bar. Very important to make sure that your thread is around that bar. It will affect your stitching. Okay, Now I'm going to go pigtail, down another pigtail. So we're 1, 2, 3 pigtails. Very important, this little hole right here on the actual needle plate. I want to make sure that we put the thread in that hole. So we'll go through that. And then lastly, we'll thread our needle. There we go. So our top thread is threaded. Let's move on to the bobbin. Okay, bobbin placement. So this is our bobbin case in here. To remove it, pull out your spring, your little bar there, pop that out. We've removed the bobbin case and we're ready to put our bobbin in. And here's what we want to do. We want to take the bobbin and it's going to make a letter P. So if I lay this flat here so we can get a better shot of it. If you look, here's the tail, here's the loop of the P. So I've got a letter P. I'm going to take the bobbin case, okay, openings at the top, and I'm going to pop it into place. Now we're going to come around, drop the thread into the notch, and wrap it around, and our bobbin is threaded. Most important, when you have inserted a new bobbin, you want to make sure that as you pull this tail, that bobbin inside the case spins counterclockwise. We don't want it to spin clockwise. So now we've got our bobbin all situated, threaded correctly. We're going to go ahead and place it back in. Unlike when we pulled it out, we don't have to pull the spring. We just take this, pop it into place, and we're ready to sew. Let's go ahead, now that the machine is threaded, our bobbin's in place, we're ready to sew. Let's go ahead and pull up that bobbin thread. So we're going to take the red button on the left handlebar, tap that 1 time. My needle's going to go down. Tap it 1 more time, needle comes up. Take the top thread, give it a little pull, and it's pulled up that bottom thread very nicely for me. Okay, let's head back to the machine. Tuck that under my foot, and I'm ready to sew. So now we're going to go ahead and do the opposite. We've done our stitching, and we want to pull up our threads so that they're both on top, and we don't have to go to the back and trim our threads. Got a little bit of stitching here. Same thing. Tap your left red button. Needle comes up. Now that bobbin thread is still attached. We pull the machine forward a bit. I'm going to go off to the side so you can see that that thread is still there. Needle down, tap that left button again. Needle up, and then pull them, push the machine to the back. Make sure your stitch regulation is turned off when you do this. Otherwise, when you move the machine, it will stitch. So you can see I've got my bobbin thread here, and then there's my top thread. I'm going to pull on that bobbin thread. The best indicator of which thread to cut, because I've got a loop there, is that we want to cut the one that does not move. So I'm going to bring my scissors. This one doesn't move. This one does. Bring my scissors in, trim that one. And then we're going to trim where our stitching ends. And that's it. We've pulled up the bobbin thread. When I move the machine, go to the back there, you can see that tail disappears. That's still attached to that bobbin. So that covers threading. Thanks so much for watching. Happy quilting!